So Yogg-Saron escapes in 10.2. Did we miss this? What? Let's see. Let's see what he's talking about.
Remember how in Wrath of the Lich King, the Scourge was trying to resurrect Yogg-Saron, and there was supposed to be a huge storyline about how Yogg-Saron was actually behind the Scourge, because the Scourge was obviously using Serenite to create the Icecrown Citadel, and Yogg-Saron is literally known as the God of Death. However, that plot was abandoned back then, but if the Dragonflight is about anything, it is all
Retconning,
about
and
bringing back abandoned plots. Then, at the start of the expansion, we learned the Yogg-Saron is alive. His essence was what corrupted Yogg-Saron, and now Iridikron traveled back in time to get this essence and to bring it back. Old gods, as we learned, can only be weakened, they can't die, but what if they just
can only be weakened, they can't die while they go twisting nether or
power
something?
infusion. Furthermore, we're almost certainly going into the Emerald Dream in 10.2, the new World Tree, and Yogg-Saron
guaranteed.
literally originated the Emerald
We are going to the Emerald Dream. That's confirmed.
Dream. He's like the World Tree corrupting expert. So are we going to see the God of Death, Yogg-Saron, awakened in Dragonflight?
It would be an interesting segue if we go into the Emerald Dream, which is all about life and renewal, and at the same time we're dealing with the God of Death.
So check out how simple these slots are. You just pop out the cards,
Contradictory
you have
powers.
cash inside, and best of all,
I
you
can
can
see how they
also
do that.
add in this little tracker card. They got
Wow, look
so
at
many
that.
styles to choose from premium leather, aluminum, carbon fiber, and even key cases that can also be fitted with this little tracker. Best of all, the wallets are super affordable, and you can get an even bigger discount with my code DORON, so make sure to use my link in the description, code DORON, and
check
get
it out.
up to 25% discount. Check out Extra. I'm not sure how many of you remember the Wrath of the Lich King lore and the dropped plot point where they wanted to make some sort of a pretty significant connection between Yogg-Saron and the Lich King, as in he was behind the creation of the Lich King or he had somehow infiltrated him, and that is one of the reasons why the Scourge just used Serenite everywhere. So much Scourge architecture has been built with Serenite, with the most notable
If
obviously
you don't know, Serenite is literally old god blood.
being the huge Icecrown Citadel. However,
I don't know where
Blizzard
all that
this
came from,
past
though.
year or so has literally been all about reviving old dropped plot points and bringing them back. So sort of doing a little bit of a weird counter retcon thing. First off, if you may remember, in the very original lore, the Dreadlords crafted Sargeras, then there was retcon, and they sort of brought that back in Shadowlands with a twist on how
no, it's
the
confirmed
Dreadlords
now. The Dreadlords did indeed fuck around with Sargeras, and now supposedly Sargeras is finding out about that.
of death, but it was really
Maybe
the
he comes
Dreadlords
back
behind
pissed.
Sargeras. Then we had the 5 old gods back in Classic from the original document, then it was retconned with the Chronicle, and now in Dragonflight they just brought that old document back. The most likely explanation is that the Titans really are claiming that 4 old gods are there, so the Chronicle is accurate in their view, but the 5th one seems to be from the old god source. That is because the Titans couldn't likely contain the 5th one, so they kind of just pretended it wasn't a thing. So if all these things are happening,
ignore it and it'll go away. Good strategy, Titans.
I mean, what is stopping Blizzard from bringing back Yogg-Saron, the God of Death? Think about it. The Scourge was literally trying to revive Yogg-Saron back in Wrath of the Lich King, and now
they still are if you go to that
zone.
zone.
Essence of Yogg-Saron and a very likely revival of some sort. It was also most recently confirmed that Yogg-Saron is the creation of Yogg-Saron. In particular, he was the original, the first undead on Azeroth. Then the undead, the Scourge, will try to revive him. How likely do you think it is that we learned that this plan was planted into the Lich King and the Scourge by the so-called God of Death? However, hints are everywhere. From the start of Dragonflight up to the latest Iridikron cinematic, is just so much is happening. First of all, 2 very important things were revealed around the release of Dragonflight, which I really do not think is a coincidence with what has been happening lately. We got the release of Exploring Azeroth Northrend, which, while you can say that this is because of the Wrath of the Lich King on Classic servers, I don't think this is the case, because the entire book basically updates us on what is going on currently on Northrend. Most importantly, Magni talks about Yogg-Saron after the war against the Jailers, so this is post Shadowlands, maybe a little bit before Dragonflight, which is essentially perfect timing for a setup on what is going to happen right now. He said that although Yogg-Saron has been long defeated, the influence still lingers in places where he once held power, and well,
yeah, I mean, I would think he still has influence too, wherever Serenite armor is, because that shit's his literal blood.
influence is sort of contained, his whispers are still heard around Northrend and all throughout Ulduar. Yeah, I know a little bit of a coincidence, however, then Blizzard just goes on an interview, tells us something akin to old gods can't really be killed, that is not really a thing for them. They hinted that old gods can die, kinda similar to demons, in their own plane of existence, their natural plane, but within the material plane it is just not a thing. Seeing that we're getting hints about Zalatat, N'Zoth, possibly Y'Shaarj, let's just say
the N'Zoth, everything they did with N'Zoth and BFA was wrong. To the kill. It shouldn't have happened. Now, I will see how they're going to use him again or how they're going to somewhat retcon that whole thing. We'll find out. I guess by saying that old gods can't die, they've already kind of retconned it.
He has something in mind when they said this during the interview. It is more than likely that for the old gods, it is just a long rebuilding process to get to full power. But
I still think this is what the stained glass in the fight reminds me of. The stained glass window in the Sakureth fight, to me, looks like this. I know some people have said maybe it's Deathwing. I think it's this. Let's see. Hold on. Sakureth glass. Let me see if I can find it. A picture of it. Sakureth. We just killed him. Stained glass. Scale Commander. Hold on. Sakureth. I always spell his name wrong, man. I just found a bunch of fucking images like this. Boss Arena. Let me see if there's an image of it here. Yeah. They're going to show it here, I'm sure. Here. Okay. Side by side. I know there's only like 2 pairs of eyes, but I think these purple things could also be eyes. I really think this is him. I think this is him. Some people, like I said, say it's Deathwing. I think it's him. To me, it looks like him. Could be wrong.
It is more than likely that for the old gods, it is just a long rebuilding process to get to full power. But imagine if someone just traveled back in time, took a peek of their power into an artifact, brought it back, handed it to them on a Civil Praetor in the current timeline. I really wonder who could do that.
Could be both. Yeah,
Iridikron, and he literally just did that. He's talking about luring back the Titans to the planet of Azeroth and finishing up what the old gods have started, and that is the corruption of the world soul of Azeroth. We know he's literally working with Zalatat. We had seen her in that portal. This is pretty much confirmed. We have documents of the Void actually coming back, and by all accounts, Zalatat may be that.
I love her model. It's kind of sexy, but she needs her own special model. Right now, she's just using a Void Elf skin. A Void Elf model.
5th old god.
I think she needs her own.
Let us just quickly look back at what the Dragon Isles told us. We've been to the laboratories of Tyr. We've seen that he has been behind the experiments of dragons, that Galakrond was his mistake. He literally admitted this. The Titan document confirmed that it was indeed Yogg-Saron who had corrupted the waters.
On her,
and
please.
Galakrond,
yeah, exactly.
instead of becoming a Titan-affiliated dragon, akin to the aspects, he was turned into a complete monstrosity that ended up being just insanely powerful. However, here is a really important thing you should keep in mind. It was the essence of Yogg-Saron, the god of death, that turned him into this, and it is likely that Yogg-Saron is also behind the decay magic that started appearing recently all over the Dragon Isles. Now, in 10.1, Iridikron played us, stole an artifact that Neltharion had originally created in Aberrus, a sort of a proto-dragon soul that can obviously capture dragon souls or very powerful magic, and he literally
I will say Iridikron and his planning and the way they've kind of, flushed him out, it's better than the Jailer, but that's not saying much. That's like saying it's better than pure and complete shit.
This old god
but they've done a better job with Iridikron
and is bringing it back to a time-traveling portal. One of the most important speculation is that the old gods never finished the corruption process of the world soul and were very close to it, but then the Titans interrupted them in the last moment, so he can use this little essence to get that final 5% in to finish it up to 100%. However, what is also possible is that since this is the original power of Yogg-Saron, he could bring it back to Ulduar, empower him so that he can actually break out. Then he can do like a chain reaction to free all the other old gods with Zalatat at the helm, and then not only are they going to finish up the corruption process, but they're also going to get rid of us. To me, honestly, this sounds like a much better plan. even more interestingly, all the recent data mining hints pretty much 100% confirm that we're going into the Emerald Dream, the new World 3 Emir seal that Tiranda planted, and we know Ferak is literally going to attack it. We've heard this in the cinematic. Yogg-Saron is like
Bring
the
on the
guy
fire.
that is behind the Emerald Nightmare, so let's just say he has experience on how to destroy World 3s, which means he might be the first guy you would really want to awake if you're trying to destroy a World 3. Now, how this is going to play out is super hard to pinpoint. It is definitely possible that Yogg-Saron could be the final unexpected boss at the end of Dragonflight. Zelatat is obviously hinted at as this genius villain, the most brilliant one, but seeing that we only saw the reflection, there really is no data mining. I feel like Zelatat is probably the long-term play, possibly the gateway to bring us into a Void Invasion and the Void Lords, and I'm almost certain we aren't going to fight her at the end of this expansion. We've
I don't think we're gonna fight her either.
gotten a first hint since the Legion,
got,
so I don't think they're just going to blow her up.
First of all, she needs a new model, right? More titty action in the new model for sure. Second of all, she's kind of been whispering, you know, there's been in the background this whole time. I think she needs more fleshing out before we actually fight her, if we fight her. I think she kind of is going to be on our side. I think she hates the other old gods, to be honest. She seems like the forgotten
also
child.
Very likely going to be the final boss of the expansion, but he could be saved for what
like
is
the enemy of my enemy is my ally kind of thing. She's not going to be like on our side as in fighting for Azeroth, but she's going to want to kill the other old gods.
Come in the future. However, realistically, I think Blizzard wants to contain dragons to this expansion and have the next one probably be about the Void, so we might finish him up just by the end of Dragonflight. There is obviously going to be some sort of a reconciliation storyline. They're setting it up with Viranaut or the dragon aspects, realizing that there were the pawns.
I actually think we're not going to kill her. Viranaut, I think we're not going to kill her. I think she's going to be the one that survives. We're going to probably kill Ferak because he's fucking insane. And Galakrond is completely vengeful and spiteful, so we're probably going to kill him. But Viranaut, I think, will be the peacemaker and the eventual leader of the proto aspect drakes, or whatever the fuck they want to call them. The incarnate drakes or something. She'll be their new leader. Plus, she's a female, and all leaders in WoW are now females, so it makes sense, right? The two guys are the idiots that are going to get killed off, and then the female's going to take the leadership role. Fits in well.
Dragon aspects, realizing that there were the pawns of the Titans, which will ultimately have some sort of a finale, and defeating Iridikron seems like the natural finish to this. I don't actually think we're going to stop his plans, interrupt him in anything. I think the most likely scenario is that Iridikron is going to go through with his devious machinations, possibly
could be an image of Deathwing. I see it too.
Zelatat, or just unleashing the entirety of Void upon Azeroth and even corrupting the World Soul, and then we're just going to defeat him so that we can focus on fighting the actual threats that had just arisen. However, with all the hints, Yogg-Saron is almost certainly coming back in some form, and not just him, but pretty much all the old gods.
Right.
Thank you for watching. Check out the Titans coming to Azeroth by clicking on the screen, and check out my first Witcher video on my second channel. See you next time.
Very cool. Nice video. Good times. Good shit. You know, what else can I say other than the lore is definitely heading in the direction of the Void. We'll see where it goes from there.